What is up, everybody? Trey Griggs here for Word on the Street at the Broker Carrier Summit. It's day 2 officially, day 1 of the full program. And we're just going to be interviewing some of the attendees that are here, some of the first-time attendees especially. And I've got one with me right now, Mia Mazel from S Works. Mia, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Looking forward to being on here today.
This is like our first time podcasting together.
I think so.
I think it might be. All right, so give everybody a quick rundown of S Works, what you guys do.
Alrighty, so we are a talent as a service company, hiring, sourcing, vetting, and onboarding talent in South and Central America. We do the whole 9, and we can also pull it apart into little pieces if you need, but we're really helping businesses make that international presence, diversify, and save some money.
South and Central America. So, because I know that it's based in beautiful Colombia.
Yes, sir.
Medellin, my favorite international city, without a doubt. Love that. Comuna Trece, beautiful. You been there?
I lived there for a year.
You lived in Comuna Trece?
No. I lived in El
You lived in,
Poblado.
okay. All
Yeah,
right, okay,
I went
all
to
right.
Comuna Trece pretty
Beautiful,
often, though.
right?
Yeah.
That's a great little
The history story there.
History's amazing.
Awesome.
They made it very touristy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of street performers. There were some fun bars with music playing.
Some graffiti walls.
There's a lot of graffiti walls there. It was a great experience to do that, but I love Medellin. So you have that, but then you also have other locations?
So what we can do is that we have expertise or experts on our staffing team that also work in Mexico, for example, in Brazil and Argentina that can do the recruiting, the sourcing, the vetting.
Yeah.
But also we can act as the employer of record and really be that person to help you make payments. So let's say you have, I don't know, a Joe in Mexico that you really like, you want to bring him on the team, but you don't have an entity there. We'll do that kind of the employer record, the contracting piece for you, so you can hire that person on and bring them aboard.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now, Mia, you've been in the industry for about 2 years now?
Coming on to 3, yeah.
Is it coming on to 3?
Coming on to
Okay,
3.
so I feel like the first time that we met might have been at Manifest, I feel like.
Yes, that was my first ever
Would
conference alone.
that be right?
Yeah.
Like in 2022?
Exactly.
So I guess you are completing year 3 coming
Yes.
up. Yeah.
Was
okay.
that 22?
It was either 22. Oh, so 22, we had to do the COVID test when we got there. Did you do that?
No, 23.
So it must have been 23.
23.
Okay, so it's been almost 2 years for us
Wow,
that
it
we've
feels
met.
longer.
It does feel like, well, and part of that is just to have to give you credit. You're out there. You're all over the place. You go to a lot of events. You're very good on social. People know you. People like you. You seem to be very friendly. It's just, it all works out. It's kind of working in your favor for people to know you, which is great.
I mean, that's what we can do when I'm sitting in my home, and how do I connect with people? Through LinkedIn, through social media, getting the word out. It's the only way to do it. And events,
But you do a great, like, of all the people that I know in the industry that work events, you do a phenomenal job at working the events, of actually talking to new people. I feel like when I see you with different people all the time. That's the key, because a lot of times you go to these events and you just talk to people you know.
Yep.
It's easy to do that. It's comfortable.
And you
but
get
it's not
stuck in
productive.
those little circles, and you still want to give them attention, right?
Yeah,
You want to make those relationships stronger. It's not, let me just get to know Trey and then cool, let me check that off on my box.
I mean, that is
more
enough.
to it.
I mean, let's be honest, that is enough. But it's so powerful to meet other people and to really expand your network. And you've done a phenomenal job. I don't know, like, I'm just curious, like, LinkedIn followers, what are you up to now?
I think I just went to 5,000. I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
That's phenomenal for like 2 years of working.
Yeah, I mean,
really
I
good.
would say the demand, the increase has been astonishing. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, and I'm not like a social media person, so to grow follower count is just like not my thing.
You're doing a good job though out there. I mean, you have content, and then you're doing a good job on that.
Yeah, and I try to make sure that the content is not just about me, but also content about S-Works, and not just about S-Works, but also about me, right?
Yeah.
There's piece and piece that's important.
All right, so we have to talk about this because you've been to a lot of events.
Yeah.
This is your first time coming to a Broker Carrier Summit. So I want to hear your perspective on what you have noticed that's different, what you like about it, and even if there's like something we could do better. I'd love to hear that too. So just give me a little bit about what you notice that's different about this versus some of the other events you've been to.
So one of the first things I would say is the intimacy, but in the sessions specifically, not in the hallways, but literally if the speaker is talking and engaging, the people in the audience feel comfortable enough to just, yell out a question and really interact and engage. Like we were talking about before, more roundtable discussion as opposed to you talking at me. And that's big because these people don't want the surface level stuff. They want to talk about what's actually going on. That's not the policy. It's the real life day to day. And they're not going to do that on stage typically, but with you guys, it's a little different.
Yeah, I think, the first one that I went to was in Tampa. And I just remember this phrase came to mind that we've kind of held on to for a while. And that is less presentation, more conversation.
Yep.
You go to a lot of events and you have these like great sessions, these panels, the speakers, and not that there's anything wrong with those. A really great speaker can be powerful. But if that's all the conference is, and you're just constantly sitting there just getting information and not getting a chance to interact or engage, that gets pretty old pretty quick. And we just found that, like you said, a lot of people want to have authentic conversations. They want to air their grievances. They want to say what's, just pissing them off right now, or what's their struggle in their business, and be heard, but also have people that can either appreciate that, maybe in the same place, or people that can help with that, that they can do that. So
the empathy as well, we want to be heard. We're humans and we like to feel connected. And so being able to say, look, this is how I feel, this is what I'm experiencing, let's talk about this is big.
Yeah, it's huge. All right, any other differences between this and others?
Another difference I would say is the crowd. You don't have the typical like schminfluencers. You have some of those individuals, but you have a lot of younger people and a lot of female representation here. Which honestly, I don't typically see. I told my coworker Cameron, I'm like, don't get used to that. But it is great. I hope it becomes the new norm. I hope we get more and more of that. Having that little girl, Grace, I believe, a 14-year-old who's here. Yeah,
Grace Pritchard out of I think Eau Claire, Wisconsin, somewhere in Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
Her dad, Andy Pritchard, is with Blue Northern Distributing, and brought his 14-year-old daughter to see this. Like it's one thing to know what your dad does. It's another thing to actually see it and interact with the people that are there. And she got to be there for the Women Logistics kickoff, which was awesome.
And she went on stage and she interacted.
I felt bad because I was calling the wrong name for like an hour and a half.
You called her Claire, right?
I called her Claire, which is a good name, but I think it's because I heard Eau Claire in the conversation. That's what I'm going to blame it on, at least. I don't know if that's true, but I called her Claire for like a solid hour and a half.
Well, it was awesome that she even spoke up and corrected you at one point. Like to see that she had that confidence in this room.
Several people corrected me once they figured that out. I heard it from multiple people. We're not going to mess it up again, but it was neat to have Grace here and to see that, and she got to meet some of the women at lunch that I was connected with. I got her connected with a few of them, and then we decided to give her some free swag through supplychainswag.com.
Love to see it.
She's going to get some some swag. Okay, so that's something that's different. The crowd size, the conversations, that's all great. The crowd demographics.
Yeah.
What is and maybe like. What's been your that you really like? What's your favorite part about this conference?
My favorite part about this conference, I mean, for me, it's always going to be the people, right? So it's going to be those spaces where we can mingle and mash. And having, for example, here, the bar that is located in the conference.
Dude, that bar is
a great,
tight.
It's a great spot.
That bar is like vibing.
It's a great
It's such a good bar. That it's funny when we scout out location, that's one of the first things we look at is, can this bar accommodate 300 people?
Yeah.
Because if it can't, I mean, it's like, it's not going to work for our crowd.
Well, when you start to see the halls get a little empty, you're like, where is everybody? You head to the bar and you find them all there. Every event doesn't have that necessarily. Yeah. And so then everyone's back in their rooms and you lose those more organic moments, like even in the elevator. I love catching people in the elevator.
I think that's one of the big differences here as well is a lot of conferences, it bothers them when people aren't in the sessions. It does not bother us at all. Because if they're not in the sessions, it usually means that they're out talking to somebody. Right. And that's the whole goal of this, is for them to have conversations with new people. We like to say that the Broker Care Summit is where deals get done. And that only happens if people are engaging or talking. And so even though people might walk out of the main session or they might not go to a breakout session, you're going to see conversation throughout the hallways here. You're going to see the bars filled up. And most importantly, you're just seeing people connect with like-minded business partners to hopefully do business together. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. What's really cool is I was talking to two different gentlemen separately, and they both reiterated kind of the same point, and that is their business has grown in the last 6 months almost solely from the people they met at the Broker Care Summit in Kansas City. And I was like, I'm like, are you serious? Like, are you just saying that?
On my bucket.
Like, right. I mean, is that real? But it was real because they met people that were like-minded. They had the lanes that they wanted. And these are small companies. I mean, this is a trucking company. The first one I talked to had one truck.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take a lot of loads to keep that truck full.
Right.
He needs 5, 6, 7 loads a month, and he's pretty full depending on what the loads are. Maybe 10 if it's short haul. So it doesn't take a lot to keep that driver, full with good loads, good paying rates, consistency, which allows them to, get a little capital, save up a little bit, and start to grow.
I love that.
And so it's just neat to see these small companies who are struggling on the load boards, who are struggling to find good freight or good partners. They come here, they meet 1 or 2 people, just 1 or 2 people that makes the difference for that company.
Exactly.
And that's what's really exciting. And that's what we love.
And I think another part of it is they may not even know what they're looking for, but when you come here and through conversation, you never know what you don't know, but then organically you start to hear things. And so somebody said to me, this is the results of a pitch, new ideas that I never thought I would have and new angles that now we can explore and talk to. Those are the hallway conversations that you have that you can't buy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now we got to get to the down and dirty. So what do we need to do better
Okay, good question.
It's okay, be honest. Like, we just need to know, what do we got to do better here?
Good
How
question.
can we do better?
So one thing is, I heard a lot of people came from Houston and they all drove separately. So we're thinking a group van to bring them from Houston over here.
We're gonna rent a school bus.
That's
and
one
bring
idea.
them up. Maybe, you know what would be interesting about that, and not, I don't know if people would do it necessarily, but if you were to like shuttle a bus from major cities, and people could buy a ticket on the bus, and then they could have conversations on the way here. Mia, this is genius.
Thank you.
Listen, we're coming up with new ideas on the spot, people. Look for the Broker Carrier Summit Transit.
On the van. Party bus.
We're gonna be renting Greyhounds from now on. And you know, that's an interesting idea, like carpooling or coming together, because you just get started off early.
Exactly.
Let's just meet some people.
I mean, I like to meet people on the plane over or in the Uber ride over. You know, again, those little organic moments are the ones that really matter. So being able to say, hey, let's all carpool together, you know, let's get in this fun party bus van.
Well, and what's interesting about that is that, you know, like we have a lot of regional people that attend. So like in Kansas City, we had a ton of people from the Kansas City area and around Kansas City, Omaha and Columbia and Springfield and places like that. And it's probably going to be that way at other events. Yeah. So like going to, you know, Indianapolis in April, there's probably going to be people coming from Chicago, from Detroit, from, you know, Cleveland and Louisville. And it might be like, maybe we do need to just rent a bus and sell tickets on the bus and say, hey, if you want to come up on Tuesday night and not have to drive and not have to like think, it's like a flight, but it's easier, it's faster. You don't have to go through TCA or TSA, whatever it is. You don't have to do it. So that might be the way.
And the other piece, which I feel like you probably already have this in your mind as well, is, you know, we have those different kinds of groups. The late night group that likes to stay out at the bar, at the happy hours, you know, and then you have the morning birds that like to go on a little morning hike or a walk, you know, being able to do like with Mark Manera, you know, and doing those yoga morning sessions,
Dr. Mark, baby.
Those kinds of things. Those
Mark Manera, where are you right now? You're supposed to
Mark.
be here, man. We need you to be here. Hopefully you can come to the Indy one. Mark's a good friend of mine. Mark and I go on hikes.
Exactly. Do a little morning hike.
I know, it's a good time. So, hey, we got Randy Phillips coming down the road. We may have to get Randy on the podcast.
Let's go, Randy.
Randy, hey, Randy, you want to join the podcast, man? You want to come talk? Yeah, come back when you're done with the phone call. I know. Go do some deals and come back and talk to us, man. All right, good. I've known Randy Phillips for. I know. I've known. He's a big seller. I've known Randy Phillips for probably a decade now.
Oh wow!
So he's been a truck stop the whole time, and I started my career at DAT. So we would go. You didn't know that?
I did not know that about you.
My first 4 years in transportation, I was at DAT, and so I met Randy and all the truck stop guys at these events. What's funny is that, and I don't know how it is. I don't know what the culture's like at DAT now, but back then, like they hated the fact that I had friends at truck stop, but the truck stop guys were cool. Like Randy's a cool dude.
We're all friends at this point.
A lot of them are cool guys, and so I've known him for a long time. He's a good guy. So
I hang out with some of my competitors, you know, all the time. You'll see us mingling here.
Hey, there's room for everybody.
You learn from each other, right?
Yeah, you totally do. And you know, and the truth is, like, it's a small, big industry.
Yes.
And there's a chance that down the road there might be an opportunity at one of those companies that makes sense. It's like, why would you even burn the bridge?
People switch jobs all the time as well. You know, people are people, and I'm in one role today, and I can be in a different role tomorrow.
It happens, absolutely. You know, it absolutely happens. So, yeah, hang out with your competitors, people. It's fun. It's good times. All right, so I want to ask you about this as well, because we just started the Women in Logistics. You might get asked about this a lot, but I want to hear your opinion about this. So we have this initiative for women in logistics, and to really create a focus about that. As a younger female in the industry, like, what are your thoughts about that? What's your perspective on that? Do you like it?
I love it.
Like talk about your thoughts about it?
I have so many feelings. So I'm super, super, super excited that you guys are doing that, because I feel like we have a lot of women that kind of build and form groups together, but they're not public groups, you know, they're just kind of friendship groups. And so for somebody who's new to the industry, they don't kind of know where to turn to or how to even get in. So being able to make it a little bit more of an organized committee organization is going to be definitely a huge value add. And bringing in these younger ones as well, especially when they're starting new, like we need to incorporate them. Like, for example, I mentioned Cameron previously, my one of my coworkers. She's been with us for 3 months now. New
in the industry and rocking it. By the way, it's hilarious. So I knew about Cameron from LinkedIn because we got connected before the event. But then I went up to say hi to you. I met her, and then immediately she's gone, and she's at the bar with some other person there, just like comfortable as I'll get out. I'm like, well, you're gonna be fine.
Exactly.
You're gonna be fine.
But why did she feel the confidence to do that? Because she had support around her, right? And that's important because. We talked about Manifest. I went to Manifest as my first solo conference. That conference is huge. And let's be real, this is a very male-heavy industry. There's a lot of uncomfortable moments. So being able to have those women and those safe people, and the men that are also our safe people You know, Trey's one of my safe guys. I call Bane my conference uncle, even though he doesn't know that.
Dude, he's like your conference bouncer, man. Like that is keeping people
my
out.
Bodyguard.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
Totally.
But so we need that kind of protection. It's sad, but we do need that and that confidence. And from there, we can definitely build our career. If we don't have that baseline, then there's nothing from there. So I really appreciate it. I'm thankful and I'm grateful for you guys for building this organization.
Yeah, no, it really matters. You know that I don't go to a lot of events anymore. I've kind of dialed it back because my kids are 16 and 14, and I want to be home as much as possible. But the one that I always go to is Women in Trucking. Coming up here in just a couple of weeks, down right here in Dallas, actually, just down the road at the Hilton Anatolia Hotel there. But I want to go there, and the main reason I want to go there, it might look weird, like why are you going to a conference full of all women? Well, the reason is it's my opportunity to say thank you in person. Because they're creating all the opportunities that my kids will get someday. Maybe not in this industry, maybe in another industry, but they're doing that. They're paving the way. And I just want to say thank you. Like I feel like I need to support that, not only for my daughters, but for all the young women that are out there that are coming up. Speaking of this, this is a weird thing. I heard you say women, and I just realized that woman and women are pronounced differently at the beginning, even though the letters are the same. They both start with WOM.
Women.
Woman and women. But it's all WOM.
Like and R.
These are the things I notice, folks. This is what I
notice.
It's weird, but it is what it is. So that's good.
Love that.
Yeah. So I'm going to Women in Trucking. I'm looking forward to that.
Love that. I won't be there this year. The next one I have is, I think the last one, an LTL event by Curtis Garrett.
Oh, Curtis Garrett, my dog, dude. Curtis Garrett,
event.
Understanding LTL.
Yeah,
that guy's
shout
awesome.
out to Curtis.
Shout out to Curtis Garrett, man. Love that guy. He's a good friend and just smart, dude. Smart. Golly.
And well-spoken as well.
I meet smart people, and I just go, okay, all right.
What are you eating? What's in your cereal?
I know my place around here. I know what it is.
Hey, you're smart as well.
Well, Mia, it's great having you on the show. It's great to see you here at the Broker Carrier Summit. I hope that this is not a one and done for you, my friend.
Never.
This needs to be something where you come back.
This is the start of something new.
Maybe this will be a women-only show for me today because I'm thinking about having my good friend Marina Brown on in a little bit, and from Oniva. Hopefully, she can join us here in a little bit. I'll text her and get her over here. But also, the next guest that we're having on the show here in a minute is my good friend Jen Stedge from True North. Are you familiar with True North?
No, I'm not.
So True North is they're basically a capacity tool, kind of a load board type of application for carriers and brokers to find each other, build relationships together, and trying to create some new technology and some new kind of modern principles built in with chats and networks and things like that into the process there. And so, they're doing a good job with that. Awesome. They were a carrier originally, 300 truck carrier. And then they realized, hey, we can have a bigger impact if we service carriers as opposed to just being a carrier. And so they kind of made that change. And they were our title sponsor for the golf tournament, which is phenomenal. We really appreciate their support in doing that. And Jen's just a phenomenal entrepreneur. And so she's actually walking this way right now. So we'll see her in a little bit. But Mia, hey, thanks for coming on the show. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for being at the Broker Carrier Summit. Check out Mia Mazel on LinkedIn, everybody. And S-Works. What's your website, by the way? Give everybody the website.
SWorksGroup.com.
SWorksGroup.com, everybody. Check it out. And if you go to an event, I'm pretty sure you're going to see Mia working the room. She does a great job. Swerking the room. That's a dude, you guys are coining phrases around here now.
Whatever
I like that.
For you, man.
Whatever swerks. Okay, you guys sitting around in a room coming up with this stuff?
We just work it out.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, all right. Mia, thank you for joining.
All right, with that, I'll swerve my way out.
With that, we're going to, that's enough of that. This is like a bad dad joke era. This is getting...
No, those are pretty good.
those are pretty good. Those are better than most dad jokes, I will say, but pretty interesting. All right, well, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks, Trey. I'll see you later.
That was Mia Mazel with S-Works, a good friend of mine here in the industry, doing a great job and a lot of fun. Now, listen, folks, if you haven't been to the Broker Carrier Summit before and you're feeling a little FOMO, make sure that you sign up for Indy. The registration is now open for the Indy Summit. You go to brokercarriersummit.com. You can learn more about that. There's also a CVent page to do that as well. So you can sign up right away, get some early bird pricing, get some discounts on that. We're going to have another golf tournament there. It's going to be at the Brickyard Crossing at Speedway in Indiana. And it's just going to be a phenomenal show once again. And if the trend stays true, we could have 600-700 people there, and that would be absolutely tremendous. All right, we got my next guest coming on. She is the founder of True North and the title sponsor of the Post and Pray Classic, and a good friend of mine who gave out a few awards today and hopefully has time to jump on with us for just a little bit. Everybody give it up for Jen Stedge. Jen, thanks for joining today.
Hi, Trey.
We are live on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook, having a good time out there. So I got the whole setup here. I'm so glad that you're here again. We met for the first time, I want to say, at TIA in Phoenix.
Yeah.
At a bar.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds weird. We're both happily married, but we were at a networking event that Ty put on, and we were just kind of sitting down and talking. And I was like, "Hey, what do you do?" And you were telling me, and obviously there was kind of some commonalities there because I used to work at DAT on a load board, and you found a True North, and some people may not know exactly what that is. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about True North, and then we'll chat a little bit.
Yeah, so True North started as a carrier. We were owner ops only, and we grew to 300 trucks, kind of in the depths of COVID. And we learned a lot building a carrier. Primarily, we learned that it's really, really hard to run a really good carrier. But we ran the whole thing on our own tech stack, and so we ran everything from the load board to broker management to invoicing to settlements and payroll and all of that. And so now what we do is we take what we built, and we want small carriers to benefit from the resources of big fleets. You know, the fuel discounts and insurance discounts, but also just access to brokers. So that's what we do. We have 30,000 small carriers on our app.
Yeah.
And now our new product, just launched in the last couple of months, gives brokers access to those carriers to proactively reach out to those carriers.
Yeah.
Rather than posting to a load board and then getting 100 cold calls.
So is it like a load board, or is it more like a relationship management tool? How would you define that? How would you make it different than maybe what the load board experience is?
Yeah, internally we call it trucking relationship management.
Oh, I like that. That's a new category.
Yeah, and that's kind of what load
category.
boards tried to be, right? Is a load board is just someone needs a load moved and someone wants to move the load. So that's the first thing you have to do is we help carriers and brokers meet, book their first load, but then we also help them book their second load and their third load and their fourth load, because that's what everyone wants.
Right.
No one wants to be hunting every single day for the next load.
How do you do that with your technology? Because I think, when I worked at DAT and people would ask what I did, I said, well, it's like a dating service for trucks and brokers. It's like matchmaking, trying to find each other. But what tends to happen on a load board is you find somebody one time, and then I think 90% of loads are one use carrier.
A lot.
It's a high number.
Yeah.
And so even though I think brokers have, and even carriers probably have high intent to want to work together again, it often does not happen. It's usually one and done. So how do you guys manage that, or how do you maybe set yourself apart in making that a little bit easier?
Yeah. What we model this after is the really good dispatcher. So what a good dispatcher does at a carrier is they have their point person at a brokerage. They know where their 10 trucks are. And every day they tell the broker, hey, I have trucks in this place or in this place. And so that's what we try to do is based on our carrier's activity in our app, we tell the brokers not only where they are, but where they want to go and where they want to be next so that the broker actually can keep up with where the carrier is. Without that, the broker is just kind of flying blind and guessing that the carrier is either here or wants to go here or there. And so we make that visible.
So I used to work at Trucker Tools, and they had a tool called Smart Capacity, which I'm not sure where that's at, if they're even still using it. But I noticed that this was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's early on.
Yeah. But
I noticed that it didn't quite work the way that they wanted it to work. And it just like the trucks weren't always where they thought they were going to be. How do you guys create accuracy in terms of your data? Because obviously, bad data is terrible. Like good data is the only thing you can actually work with and get something out of. So how do you guys do that?
Yeah. So a lot of people have great location data, which I think is what Trucker Tools and lots
tracking
of companies run on. So we have that, but in addition, we have where are our carriers searching for. And so today they're in Dallas, but actually they're on the way to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And nobody but us knows that they have a load dropping in Atlanta on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so we can say, pick up in Atlanta on Tuesday. And since we know that the carrier likes to go to Chicago or lives in Indianapolis, go in that direction. And we can let the broker just like get higher intent.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing because like you said, Trucker Tools has a good tracking map. So they had the location data, but it wasn't quite matching up at the time. So I think that's the difference is when you can really have accurate data and where things are, which is exciting to try to figure out how to build that and make that happen. That's really cool. What made you decide to go from being a trucking company to being a technology company?
Yeah, I mean, we were always a technology company, and that's always what I'm good at.
Did you guys build your technology from the very beginning?
Yes.
So you started
we did.
building custom technology.
Actually, our first like pitch deck was we will just do the technology, and then we realized how much opportunity there was at the carrier level and how much we had to learn. You can only learn certain things by doing them.
Yeah.
And so now I really know how to run a carrier.
So you were a technology company that decided to
Yes.
become a trucking company.
Yes.
That's how kind of how that worked out.
Exactly.
And then now back to being a technology company.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you probably learned a lot that you weren't even maybe necessarily aware of.
A ton. And I think like half of the people in our company today have dispatched at some point, and so they know how to do it. It's not just secondhand or learning from other people.
So you're building technology. You're building on top of the technology you already had, and with the experience that you got from having
so much experience.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Hard lessons. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, that's awesome. So this is your second Broker Carrier Summit.
Yes.
Right? Because you were in Kansas City. I remember that. And you sponsored the Poster Pray Classic for the second time, which we're so happy you did that.
I keep meeting people who golfed and
hopefully they had a good experience.
Yeah.
And Shane was there from your team, was there. Yeah, we wanted to become the premier tournament, the golf tournament in the industry. Every event tends to have a golf tournament.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they kind of stink. I'm not a fan. So we're doing things differently, and I'm just so thankful to have the support from you, from True North, and from some of our other sponsors to be able to do that, to be able to put that on, because it adds kind of just an extra level of relationship and opportunities to come together and memories, shared experiences. It's like I know like some of these conferences, whenever like in Orlando, they'll rent out Harry Potter World, and they'll invite people to go to it, and it's like, well, it's just a shared experience. And so this is another shared experience at the Broker Carrier Summit. So I really appreciate you guys sponsoring. We had a great time with that. So that was awesome.
Maybe next time I can drive the cart around and be the beer girl.
We'll definitely give you a cart. We had so many volunteers this time. We had the Logistics Lounge crew was here, which I don't know if you know those guys, Pedro Potato and Hunter, the good guys. They were here previously. They were out there. Charles Gracie came out and did some podcasting on site and took some footage. We had John Radvansky there. We had a lot of other volunteers, and they were all driving cars. So you definitely get a cart, my friend. Cool. You can drive around, meet people.
Nobody wants me golfing.
Well, I mean, maybe I don't know.
I'm just as likely to hit my foot as I am.
Have you ever played golf? You ever swung golf club?
I have swung a golf club. Yep. That's about as far.
I said swing. You ever swung a golf? Swing it, girl. Swung a golf club. You have done that before, but it's just not your thing.
No.
That's okay.
And you can get good at anything if you try hard enough. Yes. But when you start out being not great, your
baseline is a lot lower than others is what you think. I don't know, that's to be determined, but we appreciate you being out there and supporting that. And absolutely, we'll get you a cart, we'll get you out there running around. We had a lot of fun. Shane welcomed everybody. We had our shotgun start, which was great, and it was just a lot of fun. We gave away some good swag. We gave away some hats, some gloves, some towels. Had a nice beautiful towel with True North on the bottom.
Nice.
Looked great. We had a lot of fun with that.
Cool.
That was a good time.
And this conference is really great. People are here ready to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Which is wild. I like emailed a bunch of people I wanted to meet up with, and almost all of them answered in like an hour. Yeah. It was really incredible.
It's a different crowd. I really believe it's a different crowd than some of the other conferences that we have. Everybody here really wants to meet a lot of people and want to put themselves out there. And it's not just a job. It's not like, oh, you work here, so you got to go there. It's like, I really want to be here. And when you really want to be somewhere, you want to get the most out of it. I feel like that's pretty much at the heart of this. Is that attitude and that type of person is here.
And I'm meeting single owner ops all the way to 300, 400 trucks.
And I love the fact that you're fighting for the small guy there. The single owner operator, the 2-truck company, the 3-truck company that they don't have a lot of power, they don't have a lot of buying power, they don't have negotiating power.
And they have all this AI being used kind of against them right now. Yeah. And so what we're doing is we want to build those AI tools on the carrier's behalf. Yeah, I love that. Well, it's wonderful what you're doing, Jen. I just love working with you, and I'm so excited for True North, what you guys are doing. As a former load board guy, I love seeing technology that helps get people a little less dependent on the load boards, those types of things. So I appreciate you, what you're doing. Thanks for coming by, being on the show. Thanks.
And thanks for sponsoring. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
That's Jen Stedge, everybody, from True North, and she's phenomenal. If you don't know her, follow her on LinkedIn. It's J-I-N, not J-E-N. J-I-N, Stedge, S-T-E-D-G-E. With True North, that's one word, 2 words put together, no space in between. Make sure you follow Jen and what they're doing over at True North, especially if you are a small carrier, owner, operator, small fleet, and even brokers. Check out the product they have for that as well. You can go to truenorth.com and you can learn more about that. Speaking of technologists and entrepreneurs and founders doing amazing things, if you haven't heard about Moniva, you definitely need to check this out. My good friend Marina Brown's doing some amazing work with that. Listen, I'm just going to give you the pitch right now because I know it so well, what she's doing. Wouldn't it be great to have the ability to know about accessorials in real time, to get them approved in real time, get them on the invoice before and not have to worry about trying to do the investigative work on the back end, not get paid by your shipper. Carriers are upset. Accessorials are a big problem and cost a lot of money to brokers out there. And so what Moniva is doing is it's taking that away and making it possible to do accessorials in real time. It's amazing technology. She's an awesome technologist. A lot of time at Werner, and she's doing a great job. She's going to join us here in just a minute when she gets a chance. Having a great conversation right now with Jen, who just left, so they're going to have a chat while we're finishing up. But let me just remind you again, if you haven't been to a Broker Carrier Summit and you're feeling a little FOMO, which I think you might be right now, make sure that you sign up to join us in Indianapolis, the home of the Broker Carrier Summit, returning to our roots, everybody, in late April 29 through May 1st, 2025. We'll be at the beautiful Crown Plaza Hotel at the old Union Station in downtown Indianapolis. We're going to have more free truck parking from our friends over at truckparkingclub.com. We're going to have a great golf tournament, and it's going to be phenomenal to do that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ooh, Adam Wingfield running by. What's up, Adam? You look good, player. You look good. You look good. We're going to have a great time at the golf tournament, the Post and Pray Classic, this time presented by True North. Hopefully we'll get them to reprise that role and be a title sponsor once again. But it's a phenomenal tournament. It's a 2-person team event. It is not a 4-person scramble. I'm not a fan of those. We have a lot of fun out there. It's a good time. And hopefully if you like golf or you just like being out in the sun, you'll be a part of that as a player or a sponsor. We had a lot of people out sponsoring tables, and we had a putting competition on one of the practice greens. Everybody got one putt for a brand new ping putter by our friends over at Sigma Solve. Took care of that for our players, and that was won by Ed Stockman of Neutral. He won that. He actually made the putt along with Ryan Misey made it, and Ed won the playoff on the stage today at the Broker Carrier Summit. They had to do a little paper, rock, scissors to see who could win that. We also had some other good giveaways. Our friends over at Avanza Logistics, they gave away 2 $250 gift cards to the closest to the hole on number 6. So that was a fun giveaway. We gave away premium golf balls by our premium golf ball sponsors. Avanza was one of those. Sigma Solve was one of those. Tyson Lawrence Coaching was a premium golf ball sponsor. And Kenneth Kloppel over at Transport Pro was also a premium golf ball sponsor. So every player got a dozen premium golf balls. They got a nice branded Bills Post and Pray Classic hat. They got a Post and Pray Classic golf glove and a beautiful golf towel, along with some other giveaways, some koozies and things like that. So an absolutely wonderful day. We also had some long drive competitions and a lot of other competitions as well. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time, and we're going to be doing more of that next time as well. So if you can't get out there, hopefully you can make it to one in Indianapolis. If not, we're going to be in Charlotte in 2025. All right, please welcome to the show from Moniva, my good friend, Marina Brown. Marina, thanks for joining the show.
Hello.
This is your first time on Word on the Street Live.
It sure is.
I know. It really is.
I think those headphones are a little big.
They are a little big. And I got a small head too. Luckily, I got a hat on, and that's helping me out right now.
I needed one of those.
I'd be in the same position as you in that regard. That's for sure. So this is your first Broker Carrier Summit, correct? Or did
it is.
Yeah, because you didn't make it down to the one in Kansas City, even though you're in Omaha. We're going to forgive you for that.
Know,
it's only a 3-hour drive.
I can't forgive myself, but you can't forgive me, yes.
So this is your first Broker Carrier Summit. Give everybody a little taste of like your perspective. You've heard about it, obviously from me. We get a chance to do a little work together, but others as well. And now you're here to talk about the experience so far, what you've enjoyed about it.
I have loved the fact that it's so focused. So carriers and brokers are the perfect customer for me. And you don't have to go around and try to figure out who's who. You know that whoever you're talking with is probably going to have the problem that you're solving for. So it's an immediate conversation. It's immediate connection. People are here to network, and it's clear because the first thing that comes up is, here's my business card, which it doesn't happen at most other conferences. You know, like people are like, "Oh, don't touch me, don't talk to me. I'm just here to learn whatever's the latest trends." But not at this conference. People are super open, and I love it.
So it's different. We've talked about this with some other people. It feels like a different demographic is here than at the other conferences. I feel like some of the other conferences, it's maybe a little bit more executive focused. And I feel like it's almost like an obligation. Like people go to those events because their company signed up for it. So they got to go. And this is definitely different in that regard.
It is, because you get to meet with the people that are actually in the grind and doing the work and feeling the pain and experiencing the importance of what it takes to be a broker, what it takes to be a carrier. And that, I feel, is what connects them at the end of the day, because then they know that they're here to make those connections, to ultimately bring more business back home. and to get work done.
Well, I'm glad that we created a target audience for you here. We built this with you in mind. We're like, Maniva needs a target audience, so we'll just build a conference and we'll get everybody together. Well, this is probably one of the only conferences. I'm gonna guess. I mean, if there's the other ones out there that I don't know about, maybe that's possible. But this is the only conference where we have the audacity and maybe stupidity to bring brokers and carriers together.
I mean there hasn't been any fights so far.
No fights so far. Although I will say this, it's pretty funny that Dan walked out of the main room yesterday and there were like 30 police officers.
Oh my God.
And he's like, oh no, what happened? Like we just got off the main stage and we were touting the fact that nothing has gone wrong. We're like, no casualties, everything's going well. And then he walks out and there's like 30 police officers and he's like, whoa, what's going on? And they're like, oh, it's a monthly like meetup convention or something. He's like, oh, great, thank you for being here, appreciate it. But he was a little nervous at first. But it is the only one of its kind where we're bringing brokers and carriers together, and I think that's actually like that's the secret sauce. Yes. Like there's really no other secret sauce beyond that. Our speakers are great speakers, they're industry speakers, but they're not like we don't have Steve Jobs or anybody like that coming in. Obviously it's not Steve Jobs anymore, but with somebody like that, we don't have a big name coming in.
No, but the advice has been very practical. Like
because it's people in the trenches. It's just regular people in freight doing great things. We had Andrew Silver this morning. I thought his talk was awesome.
Nate Schutz, our good friend
Nate Schutz from Ballast.
He almost made me cry. Actually.
He talked about the loneliness of leadership, and that's just the truth. Like when you're a leader, and the leaders out there know this. When you're a leader, there's nobody to talk to when things go bad. No. There's nobody to complain about or to say I'm having a bad day or I'm just not feeling it. That doesn't happen. And so,
and Nate explained it in such a basic way, and just the way that he built up on the story of, look, you as a leader, doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, doesn't matter if you're the CEO. And at the end of the day, we're all running business, whether you're a carrier, a broker, an entrepreneur. Yeah. And sometimes you can't express to your staff all of the loneliness and the experience and the that you have as an owner or a founder. And so having a group of people that ultimately can be there for you is super important. And the way that he built up on the story, and his last couple slides, like I was almost tearing up. I was like, oh my gosh, Frodo is being carried by his best friends. And that's what we need. And I feel like this is what you're getting here as well, is a lot of people that are rooting for you. Yeah. And then they can help
this almost
carry you.
Feels like a larger entity that's like what Nate created with Ballast, like supporting each other. It's almost like Ballast is like a microcosm of the broker carrier summit in many ways. And Nate is incredibly talented as a speaker. And I have to tell you this, and you might know this too, because Nate, we're really good friends. He was really nervous to speak. And I was like, Nate, like, you're going to kill it, dude. You're so good. But he just cares so much.
I can see that.
But of course he got up there. He did a wonderful job, communicated incredibly effectively. And just a good dude. And,
someone said earlier, I think maybe it was before Nate, like at the end of the day, with elections coming and all that stuff, like the whole country is so divided. And sometimes you see the same thing with carriers and brokers, right? There's a lot of division, and sometimes it can be very much against each other, blaming each other for things that go right or wrong. And at the end of the day, like, it's your neighbor that's sitting right next seat to you. And so that's been amazing, because you now sit next to a carrier if you're a broker, or a broker if you're a carrier, and you're having a nice positive conversation with that person. Yeah. And it just feels friendly. Yeah. And I think when you build so many friends like that, you do better business.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get a chance to enjoy the lunch and lanes today?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I know you're not a broker or carrier, but you kind of got to see how that worked out.
Oh, yeah. It was
unique.
Great.
Like, nobody does that either. We were like, what if we just put all the van people together and all the flatbed people together and all the reefer people together, and let's see what happens. And they love it. We do a super long lunch. It's 90 minutes. Yep. There's no rush. Probably the only lunch in transportation we don't feel rushed.
It was so full. Everybody was there, and everybody was having such an engaging conversation. And I had to squeeze myself, and I'm like, sorry guys, this is like the high school cafeteria, but I'm gonna sit here. That's right. And I'm gonna talk to you. That's right. And I made some friends. And again, I sit at the table, and everybody's flashing business cards at you. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I love everybody.
Yeah. I feel like, again, just to go back to it, the special sauce is just the people. There's just such nice good people here, and they want to help each other out, and they want their business to grow. And, it's like, it just matters. One thing I liked about, talking to Andrew Silver, he talked about when he built Molo,
Yes.
that he was just like almost like insanely transparent and honest with carriers, with shippers, and especially when things were bad, because sometimes things just go wrong. I mean, and business is not always perfect.
Nope.
You're gonna not see an email. You're gonna forget something. You're gonna miss something you need to do. It's gonna happen. You're not gonna bat 1,000.
Yes.
What do you do when what do you do when you mess up? And I thought that that epitomizes in many ways what this crowd is all about.
Yes.
And I love that.
I think I oftentimes get asked if you provide the transparency, because that's what our software does. And if you provide the transparency, isn't that bad for at least one of the parties in the whole transaction? And my thought is, I am still to see someone that tells me I don't want transparency from other partners that I do business with. And if you do say that, then probably you're the shady party. And so no one really wants to do business with you anyways.
Right. No, there's a lot to be said about that. And transparency to me is on some level, obviously, like the whole margin discussion, like, oh, show me your margins. Okay, well, you're not going to go into Walmart and ask for their margins. Like, they're not going to show them to you. Like, that's off the table. But in terms of just being as transparent as you can about information you have or how you can help them out, a problem you have, how you messed up. Like, that's to me the bedrock of great relationships.
Absolutely.
And that's really, really critical to do that.
And that's important not just for the carriers and brokers, but from a leadership perspective. And when you're leading a company as well, same thing. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's Corey Eckley Richard. Looking like ready for tonight's activities. I love it. We're gonna so tonight is interesting. We're having a rooftop party.
Okay.
And we're going to be playing the movie Smokey the Bandit. Have you ever seen this movie?
No.
You've never seen the movie? Okay.
No.
So you have to watch this movie. Okay.
Not tonight, though, because I'm going to be socializing.
Well, you can socialize and just catch that's true. You might not want to watch it. Okay. Well, it's a great movie. It's a trucking movie from like the 1970s and maybe 1980s.
You were asking what people's favorite movies are.
Yeah, because we're trying to figure out which one to pick.
That's the one that won?
Oh, by a large margin. It was like 80% wanted Smokey the Bandit. It wasn't even close. I put that poll on Twitter and LinkedIn, and both. I mean, it won on both of them by a mile. So tonight we have the rooftop party, which is great. It's going to be a beautiful night, about 85 degrees. And there's going to be Smokey the Bandit playing, having a good time. I think the fun thing about the Broker Care Summit is that we're just making this up. We're just making it up. And I'm not saying like we're flying by the seat of our pants, although we do that from time to time. But it's like we kind of think ourselves, well, what do we want to do? Okay, let's just do it. There's nobody to ask permission. We're just do it.
You own it.
And if it falls flat, it falls flat. You're going to strike out every once in a while, but you're also going to hit a few home runs. That's what we're trying to do.
It's amazing because like that's the other thing. Like I don't think people are here for the content, obviously, right? Like there's valuable sessions and people are learning. But people were here for the connections. And like you can see that when you are going around the hallways and it's full of people that are constantly chattering.
Yeah. And you probably hear in the background now. I mean, you just picking it up as there's people talking.
Yeah. And you can just like sit right next to someone and introduce yourself. And they're super eager to meet you and ask who you are, where you're from and all of that. What do you do?
Yeah.
And like I don't see that in many other conferences.
Yeah. Well, not to throw shade at any other conferences, but you've been at several in the last month. I know. You've traveled a lot. And this is definitely different.
It's my favorite.
Oh, already. Listen to that. Did you hear that, everybody? It's her favorite. I did not pay her to say that. There's no money exchanging hands right now if you're just listening to this. That did not happen. But no, we love to hear that because we're just trying to build something that is incredibly valuable and incredibly helpful. And I want to talk about Moniva real briefly here before we get you out of here. We got to know each other a little bit. And when I started to understand the depth of the problem that you're solving, and the fact that a lot of brokers don't realize it's a problem. They think it's the cost of doing business.
That's right.
That, if you just have accessorials, that hunting it down paperwork after the fact and spending 20% of your time doing that and not getting paid by the shipper and paying the carrier late and getting them upset, all those things, it's just the cost of doing business.
Yep.
And you're saying, no, it's actually not. Like you don't have to do that anymore.
Nope,
there's a solution, And so talk about that, your experience at Werner and how that led you to this.
At Werner, is a very big logistics company.
Huge, yeah.
And they have massive processes. One of the things that we were trying to bump up is the number of loads that every rep would cover on a daily basis. And we produced and developed some amazing tech around that. But then you bumped it up. At one point in time, the reps were covering a lot of loads because of all of the intelligence that we brought into the technology. But then it plateaued. And then you wonder, like, okay, what happened? Like, why are we not going
Have
up?
we reached the limit, or is there something else?
Yes, what else is happening?
Yeah.
And then it turned out, hey, carrier reps do a lot more than just book loads every day. And so we started digging into it, like, what is it that they're doing? As it turned out that 20% of their time is actually spent on either talking to accounting or talking to the carrier reps or their counterparts on the accounting team, just around invoice exceptions and accessorials that needed to be approved but never got approved, or so nobody communicated.
Let's break that down. 20% means one whole day a week.
Yes.
Essentially, all they're doing is hunting paperwork.
Yep.
One whole day. And trying to get approvals and trying to, all the stuff. And it's usually after the fact.
Yes.
It's after the fact.
10
So the load's already
days,
delivered.
A month later. Yes.
Now you got invoice issues. Now that affects cash flow.
Yep.
Because you're not getting paid by the shipper as much. You're having issues with carriers paying them, or maybe you paid a carrier.
Yes.
Because that was your guarantee to the carrier. And now you're trying to get the money back later, and there's a dispute with the shipper. Now it hurts your cash flow. So it's not just a time issue.
No.
It's a cash flow issue. And a lot of the times for brokerages, they're not recouping that money because they don't have the paperwork.
75% is the standard in the industry, is how much accessorials get recouped.
It amazes me that just saying that, more brokers don't understand how big of a problem this is.
I know. And you know what? I don't know if it's because technology is still a somewhat innovative concept in some of these places, and because they're so used to people doing all of that work. And it's embedded. Well, it might not be on the listed job description. It's embedded in the duties that you're performing. Other things as a sign.
Yeah, everybody loves that clause in their contract.
I had a conversation with a broker, and they told me, hey, we do not have any problems with accessorials.
We got it covered.
We recoup.
I love this story. I know it's coming.
98% of our accessorials get recouped.
Which that's good. That is a good number.
It's amazing.
So check that box. But
yes, it's amazing. So I go, I don't see that number. So I go like, holy cow, like, how do you guys do that? And so he tells me that they have a whole team of 25 plus reps that literally all they do is pick up the phone, call the carrier every time when the carrier is done loading or unloading, so that they can find out if there was any extra accessorials on the load. That's 25 plus people.
FTEs.
And that's more than $1.5 million.
Yeah.
That you're just spending on people making phone calls. That's what you would call a cost of doing business. And that's when you actually implement the technology that's going to cost you a fraction of that.
Right.
And then it will do just as good of a job.
Right. And so that's where, when you think about numbers and ROI from a technology standpoint, I'm going to throw a random number out there. Even if it was $150,000 a year or $200,000 a year for the technology to do it, you're saving not only $1 million, but you're also potentially not having to have those people doing that work, which either means you reduce your headcount, which is also a savings.
Yes.
Or you reposition those people into the better positions, or you have money to hire maybe another executive or another high-powered person that can help out your organization.
And think about like the carrier sales reps or the shipper reps, for example, because did you hire the carrier sales rep and you told them, hey, you're going to talk to a lot of carriers, form a lot of relationships, make a lot of money on all those loads that you cover? Or did you tell them, and 20% of the time you're going to sit there and argue with carriers about documentation that no one knows how to find?
Only 4 days a week you get to make money. The fifth day you're working for you're finding money for us. But 4 days you get to make money. The other fifth one, man, you're just working for free. Yeah, it definitely doesn't do that. And I'm sure that carrier sales reps don't enjoy that work.
No,
I mean it's not what they want to do.
I have not met a single person.
Nobody's like, what? I love digging up accessorial paperwork and getting that figured out. So it's really amazing. So with that being said, we're going to get you out of here. But how can people connect with you and learn more about Moniva?
Oh my gosh, go to my website. MONEIVA, that's .com, or just connect with me on LinkedIn, Marina Brown. And there's not very many Marina Browns out there that do accessorial automation. So I'm sure you'll find my profile. And
I did find another Marina, but not a Marina Brown.
No. With accessorios.
Nope, not checking all those boxes off. Well, Marina, listen, you're one of my favorite humans on the planet. I just love getting a chance to talk to you and work with you. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad this is your favorite event now of all time. Like I'm wearing that as a badge of honor. I might even put that as a patch on one of my jerseys. Marina's favorite. I'm telling you. Well, now that we said it like that, we have to do it. There's no way to do that. But thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And everybody, make sure you check out Marina and Moniza and what they're doing, especially if you're a freight broker. That's going to be really important. All right. It is time for our last guest of the show, and that is the guy who's going on stage tomorrow. He was on the Kansas City edition of the Broker Carrier Summit, took the stage by storm, high energy, does a lot of great stuff. I think he's feeling a little self-conscious about the way he looks right now. He might be putting a helmet on because he's a little nervous, but he's going to come over here. Yeah, come over to my right side. He's going to be up here. This guy, I got to tell you, there's not many people, I don't think, in this planet that could do what this guy did. He was a full-time truck driver for a while, and while he was driving a truck, ran 5 full marathons. I can't even think of running one, but he ran 5, and he is all a part of Lombard Trucking and Lombard Fitness. Please give it up for the one and the only Michael Lombard. What's up, brother?
What up?
Just got to the Broker Carrier Summit. Here's your headphones right there, and you brought a little special treat. Hold on a second. What? I have the wrong mics on? Was I muted? Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. You can do this.
Yeah, big dog.
They're all on, aren't they? Is that one on? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it works. So hopefully we've had some audio. If we haven't had audio, then I'm sorry, everybody. It's just the way it works. Because we're kind of at the end of what we're doing here.
Gotcha.
But
We're going to catch up.
All right. Well, okay, here we go. So we got Michael Lombard on the show, everybody. Michael, what's up, man?
Yo, what's
Good
up?
to see you as always, man.
Good
You brought something special to show off. What'd you bring?
I brought what keeps my noggin safe when I'm now over the road.
Up there, camera up there. Look at that. Show that off.
Dude,
let's just put that up here. Look at this, everybody. Nice little truck parking club helmet.
My over-the-road journeys have changed. Now it has. Now I'm on 2 wheels instead of 18, and I got the TPC helmet. Keeps this noggin. Keeps me aero.
You've traded in the truck for a road bike. You've traded in the marathons for Ironman competitions now, and you're about to do your first one, your first full. You did a half recently.
Yep.
About to do your first full.
First full distance, November 2nd.
All right, and just to put this in perspective, tell everybody the distances you're going to be doing and the estimated time it's going to take.
So full distance Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim or 3.8 kilometers.
All right.
It's a 112 mile bike.
Got it.
And then a 26.2 mile run marathon.
That is a ways. I don't even like to drive that far. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a long haul. I think by the mile, I think if you're taking a 140 mile trip, like say you're going delivering Waco to Dallas, you should get. I mean, if you're a carrier, you should be trying to get at least 1,000 for the day. You know. So
yeah.
Really,
how much are you getting through these Ironmans? Folks, we got to work on that. We need some sponsorships up in here. All right, we need to do that. But 140 miles, if you're driving it, 2 hours, right? 2 hours roughly, maybe a little more if you're in a truck, something like that. But for this, how long are we talking?
For this, as long as everything goes well, just with how I have it strategized, because it's a whole different beast from doing a half. A half, you can kind of push it. You can push your limits with your heart.
Okay.
You can't do that as much with a full distance. You really have to know you have to dial back or you cook yourself. So
just give us the number, man. How long are we talking?
Perfect world, barring any flat tires, we're aiming at 14 hours or less.
Ooh, that's more than half of a day. Doing physical fitness, dude, that's intense.
It's a long day. It's just like a long training day. We're going to war.
That's more fitness in one day than the average person does in a week, maybe a month, maybe. I mean, if you're doing 30 minutes a day, 28 days in a month, roughly 30 days, I mean, that's almost the same time. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
It's a lot. I mean, a lot of training's gone into it. I've had, a lot of my weeks are, it's crazy to think because even in a week, the training will be anywhere from 10 to 15 hours, depending on how long I'm on the bike.
Yeah.
But the actual event, but that's why you train 10 to 15 hours a week, sometimes upwards of 20, because the event could be 14.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what got you into, like, what kind of story? I know your story from getting into fitness, but what got you into it? You're in a truck, you're driving. You weren't doing this when you started driving the truck. Something happened when you started driving the truck. Talk about that.
Yeah, so when I started driving the truck, I knew I had to stay healthy because I knew what the job, I know it took my grandfather away before his time. He had suffered my grandfather had his first heart attack before I was born.
How old when he passed away?
And when he passed away, he would have been just around 70.
Okay.
But
Which is actually more than the average truck driver.
He did outlive the average truck driver. Yeah. He probably fortunate,
but still very young.
Still young because my grandmother's still alive, but he later in life he definitely did well. He was outside a lot. He did a lot of yard work. He definitely kept active post, after and luckily also his career kind of got cut short because Lombard, my family's company, was bought out in '84, and then after that, where the Lombard terminal was in Waterbury, he ran a plaza that was next door. So he luckily was out of the driver's seat, and that could have tacked on some more years to him. But his father passed away in his 50s, and his father drove. So I knew when I drove, I needed to stay healthy. I was already on like a good pathway towards remaining healthy, but I had access. I had gym access. I had access to a bike. I had all the access as like a non-driver would have. But then going over the road, I knew I had to do something. Running hurt, but I bought a pair of running shoes, and a bunch of people told me to read David Goggins' first novel, Can't Hurt Me. And like, it sounds corny, sounds cheesy, but like it just turned a key in my brain of, wow, I not only need to be healthy, I need to be an outlier. Yeah. I need to go all in.
Yeah, that's incredible. And we talked about it before. I've had stretches in my life where I was really mentally sharp, and had stretches recently where I've been a little lax, a little tough to do that. What is it for you that keeps you mentally sharp? Because we all go through kind of, peaks and valleys with our fitness, with our just like mental sharpness. A lot of times sometimes you just get lazy, you get tired. You just want to relax. And then that kind of leads into too much relaxing. How do you stay sharp to keep doing it? Because, I mean, you clearly have done enough. You've ran 5 marathons. You could just say, hey, I've done a lot of good work, but you're still on track. How do you do that?
Still doubling down, like staying mentally sharp. A lot of it, I mean, you got to check some boxes off, like taking a diagnostic of your diet, how much alcohol you're consuming, all the little, there's a lot of little things that definitely, I think, build the foundation of like staying motivated, keeping that mental focus. But a lot of it is the company you keep. A lot of it is the people around you. Are they supporting you? Are they not? Those are important things. But I'd say the biggest thing, what really keeps me dialed and what makes me always like looking ahead and not wanting to yo-yo, because I'd say yo-yoing is the biggest thing in anybody's fitness journey, like getting really hot, you're on an 8-week streak, and then end up vacation comes up, having something on the calendar. Like I tell this story quite often,
like some event that you're training for, or something's coming up.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be a marathon. It could be a 5K. It could be it could be the littlest thing. And I tell this story all the time to people that I signed up for my second marathon before I even ran my first. Like so it's just like there's stuff on the calendar. I've had, this 2023 was essentially mapped out at the end, or 2024 was essentially almost entirely mapped out by the end of 2023.
You've already planned everything for the year. This is what I'm going to do this. I mean, I guess if you're doing long events, you have to, right?
Yeah. And like I kept myself account, like at the end of Boston Marathon in 2023, I re-registered for 2024 the next day when it was the cheapest.
Yeah.
And then same thing, like at the beginning of 2024, I signed up for my first Olympic distance triathlon on Memorial Day. So, I mean, that's 6 months out. So, I mean, you think about it.
You can't really sit around for a while. You got to get back on it.
You just got to know it's daunting you, and so you're kind of gaslighting yourself, and
just tricking your brain a little bit, to get the right. Hey, the logistics lounge folks are walking right past. Good to see them. Good to see them.
Speak of the devil. Speak of some guys getting after it.
Hunter and Pedro Potato, man, representing the Broker Carrier Summit. Love it. Love seeing that pink shirt walking by, dude. Love it.
Boys.
Man, it's good. I'll tell you what's really crazy is that more people are showing up. The same with 500 people here this week. And it's just seeing that like the good people they're coming out, man. It's just neat to see, guys like the Logistics Lounge crew. Charles Gracie's here doing some podcasting. Alex Mai's here. You're here. The Truck Parking Club guys are here. Man, it's just incredible, dude.
I think this event, the Broker Carrier Summit, has like the potential because I love the Mid-America Truck Show. It's really awesome, but it's kind of like it's very different event than this. There's presentations, there's breakouts, FMCSA's there. There's a lot of like information that's being passed there, but it's also good. But it's also a good like event, and a lot of people will link up. People have known each other for years, but this is a little bit of like a business adjacent of the Mid-America Truck Show, where like a lot of the same players are going to be there, but there's like a little bit more of a focus, and I think that's attractive to people, especially now. And we talked about this in Kansas City. but how in the business world, we're like coming full circle. Like if you take music, for example, you used to, if you wanted to listen to music, you had to be there or you had to own a piano. And now now we've come full circle to where artificial intelligence is creating music. So now the best way to consume music is seeing it again.
And to know that it's real.
And to know it's actually real music.
Yeah, right. You have to go to the concert and, listen to them sing and hope they're not Milli Vanilling the thing.
It could be fake.
Lip syncing it. But you're right. It's like you come back to that. And that's what we're here where you can build relationships online. You can make connections on LinkedIn. You can do those things. And those things are great. There's nothing wrong with that. But man, being here and seeing people, shaking hands, having meals together, talking life, talking business, shared experiences, whether it be the Post and Pray Classic or a movie night like we're having tonight or networking event, all those things. Like those shared experiences just make it more real, the relationship better. It's something we're really excited about.
I was just going through a Facebook post, didn't even know he was here.
Yeah, Reed Lausolo in the house, dude, from Truck Parking Club. Look at, he's got the helmet. Take a picture of that. That's right. Post that up, dude. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Oh, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
Had to pause for a picture, people. Sorry about that.
I was on a Facebook post because I was looking for old Lombard trucking pictures, and they were on a post about their grandfather who drove for Lombard for 30 years. And in the comments, they talked about how all the drivers and people at Lombard had connections with the customers, like throughout the state of Connecticut, like with this one candy place, this clothing company, and it's like how they all knew each other. And that's what made like the local economy successful. Like the drivers were friends with the owners of these businesses.
The kids probably played ball together. They, it's saw each other at the restaurant on Friday night.
And it's like that's why, and, you'd think, but that's why we need Broker Carrier Summit. So these people can all talk and realize, oh, they got a family too. Oh, we're actually the same.
Yeah,
we're actually all human. We're all just trying to win.
Do you feel a little responsibility to keep Lombard Trucking going? Just the memory, the brand, the kind of thought, because it's been gone for a while, but your email address is lombardtrucking.com. I love that, dude. That's one of my favorite things. You got the URL. Did you guys always have that, or did you have to buy it?
No, I had to buy that.
So that okay, you guys never had it because I guess the company went out before the internet.
For email.
So you just bought Lombard Trucking, but you're really kind of keeping that memory going and doing that. Did you build a website? Is there a website?
I do own lombardtrucking.com. I built that with Reed.
Actually, okay. Oh, nice. Okay. You got some pictures up there?
Yeah.
Some old trucks and the story and all that?
It's got one picture and it just links my socials and everything. But I do feel obligated to carry it on, because when we think about like how America was built, it was built off of like small business, family companies, family names, like people carrying on legacies, like doing that. That's how society was. Like your father was a blacksmith.
Yeah.
You became a blacksmith. You kept the trade. You were the guy in town. So it's just like, I almost feel like, why wouldn't I want to do that? Why wouldn't I want to carry my family was a staple of, Connecticut for almost the entire 20th century and built this name and this brand. Like, why wouldn't I continue that? Like they built it for me, the foundation. I have that. So why not carry that same legacy into the 21st century and be able to have, my kids look at that and be like, hey, look at what my father did. He did this job and he's getting in there. And now he wants to even make the industry even better by changing the habits, changing the culture around health.
I love it, dude. And we may have to continue this conversation on the Logistics Lounge. You guys are coming up next, right?
Yeah. We got Steve Topple's going to come on.
Nice.
And then
nice.
Macro Points are going to be
beautiful.
On. We're going to have Danielle from my
awesome. We'll close up shop here, and we'll have you guys log in, man. No, I love it, dude. I was telling Mike, I love the fact that you're here, man.
Yeah, dude.
I love that you guys are here. And
I'm glad to see my boy right here, man.
Yeah. Put the band together. So it's awesome, man. Well, excited. So Logistics Lounge is next. We're going to close up shop here. Michael, good to see you, man. Glad that you're here, dude. Appreciate you. Al will do that. That'll work. Very good.
Appreciate you, man.
Right,
thanks for having me.
Peace out, everybody. We'll see you guys on the Flip Flop. Word on the Street tomorrow at 12 Central, right here from the Broker Carrier Summit. We're going to recap the show. It's going to be a great time. We'll see you guys. In the meantime, enjoy your Thursday night. Talk to you guys.